Hello and welcome to Global News Factory. I'm your host, Vikrant. The Arctic is no longer about polar bears, penguins, and melting icebergs. It is about nukes, submarines, and trillions of dollars worth of gas and oil. And Russia is making sure the West gets the message. For the first time in more than 30 years, Moscow looks all set to restart nuclear testing. The Soviet era site in Novaya Zemlya, buried in the icy Arctic North, is now ready for explosion drills. Experts warn that the only thing missing is Putin's nod. Once he signs off, the Arctic night sky could glow again. Question is, why now? Why here? Because it is no longer just about weapons, it is about sending a cold, hard message to NATO. We are back in the Arctic, stronger than ever. Ukraine would not bend us, sanctions would not break us, and if you keep pushing, we will show you what real escalation looks like. Let's be blunt, the Arctic is not just frozen wasteland, it's a giant ATM stuffed with cash and gas. Russia's new projections are staggering. Within next 10 years, Arctic resource projects will inject more than $160 billion into federal coffers. Already, this cold gold region contributes 11% of Russia's exports and about 7.5% of GDP. That is not pocket change, it is the foundation of Russia's future economic survival. The projects are already rolling. Yamal LNG, the Arctic Gate oil terminal, massive new LNG plants that dwarf Western projects. Despite sanctions, despite boycotts, Moscow has found ways to move its Arctic bounty, mostly towards Asia, especially China. The Arctic LNG 2 project alone, when fully online, is expected to churn out 19.8 million metric tons of liquefied gas every year. That is enough to reshape global gas markets, especially as Europe foolishly sanctioned itself out of Russian energy. And Moscow just showed off. Days before the SCO summit in China, the Arctic Mulan LNG tanker quietly docked in Guangxi province of China, carrying sanctioned Arctic gas to Beijing. Proof that sanctions are more like mosquito nets than iron walls, annoying but full of holes. And that is why NATO is now planning to gang up on Russia in the Arctic. Finland and Sweden also joined NATO, which now means that all Arctic states except for Russia are NATO states now. That means Moscow's lifeline in the north is under constant surveillance and potential chokehold. For Russia, this is not theory, this is existential. If NATO blocks the Arctic routes, Russian LNG projects suffocate. If NATO escalates militarily, Murmansk and Severomorsk, the heart of Russia's northern fleet, are directly exposed. So what has Moscow done? It has gone back to Soviet basics, reopening old bases, constructing new ones, fortifying military towns across the Arctic Circle, investing heavily in the northern fleet, which is not only intact but increasingly lethal. Murmansk and Severomorsk now bristle with nuclear-armed submarines. These are Russia's crown jewels, largely untouched by the Ukraine war. While NATO pokes fun at Russia's tank losses in Donbass, the real firepower sits quietly under Arctic waters. And this is why whispers of a fresh nuclear test in Novaya Zemlya have rattled the West more than any battlefield headline from Ukraine. Iceland is nervous, NATO is sweating. Iceland's foreign minister told Newsweek that Russia's Arctic buildup is of grave concern. NATO is of course spooked because despite NATO's incendiary designs, Russia's defense shield in Arctic looks pretty solid. Today, Russia owns the Arctic chessboard. NATO is just scrambling to borrow pieces. Remember, Novaya Zemlya is not just any site, it is where the Soviet Union once tested the Tsar Bomba, the most powerful nuclear device ever tested, a blast so massive it broke windows 900 kilometers away. Imagine Putin even hinting at reviving that legacy. NATO would not sleep for months, for sure. The West still talks about the Arctic as if it is some NGO conference about saving penguins, but Russia and increasingly China see it for what it is, the next frontier of global dominance. China is already hitching a ride on Russia's Arctic Express. Beijing calls itself a near Arctic state. Its companies are investing billions into Russian Arctic projects, and every sanction that tries to block Russian exports simply drives Moscow and Beijing even closer. The Arctic is not a sideshow anymore. It is the core of Russia's master plan to survive sanctions, outmaneuver NATO, and lock down its economic future. So when Putin signals nuclear tests in Novaya Zemlya, it is not about explosions in the ice, it is about exploding fear in Western capitals. It is about proving that Russia can open a whole new front, one that NATO is least prepared for. The Ukraine war is burning slowly, the Middle East is boiling, but the real shock may come from the north, where the ice is melting and Russia is digging in. The Arctic is the new front line, and Moscow is daring NATO. Calm and freeze. Moving on, let's talk about Trump's great trade deal with Pakistan. He told the world that Pakistan is sitting on massive oil reserves, that America would help Pakistan dig them up, that Pakistan would suddenly become an oil giant, and wait for it, that Trump would sell Pakistani oil to India. Sounds impressive, right? Only problem? Pakistan says it is complete nonsense. Yes, Pakistan's own state oil and gas company has now said that Trump's claim is, I'm quoting, completely absurd. Officials even told the Financial Times, I'm quoting, there is no mysterious, undiscovered oil field that is going to produce 1 billion barrels of oil. Unquote. That is straight from Pakistan, not Russia, not China, Pakistan itself. Now, question is, where did Trump get that fantasy? He is quoting a 2015 report by America's own Energy Information Administration. The EIA had suggested, based only on preliminary seismic data, that Pakistan's Indus Basin might hold 9 billion barrels of shale oil. The keywords are might, could, possibly. That is not proof. That's like saying your backyard might have a diamond mine because you once saw something shiny in the grass. And of course, American consultancy firm Rystad Energy already warned years ago that this EIA report was just guesswork, no actual drilling, no actual discovery, just pure speculation. Trump does not care about boring details. He runs on slogans. Let's rewind a bit. Back in 2019, Imran Khan, then Prime Minister of Pakistan, also tried to play the oil dream game. He announced that a giant discovery was about to be made. A consortium led by Italy's Eni and America's Exxon was drilling in the Arabian Sea. Khan announced Pakistan would never need to import oil anymore. 50 years of supply, a golden age, he said. But just hours later, that consortium itself broke the news. We found nothing, just water. The project was shut down, dead. Now fast forward to today. Trump tries to revive the fantasy. Pakistan's oil bosses slam it down again. So where does this leave Trump's brilliant deal? Exactly where his other deals are, dead on arrival, because Trump had a plan. He wanted Pakistan to dream big about oil. And while they waited for these magical reserves, he convinced the Pakistani army, and especially the Pakistani army chief Asim Munir, to start importing American oil. He literally sold them Freedom Oil as a placeholder. Now, the big discovery turns out to be fake. No millions of barrels, no great gushers, just hot air. But Pakistan is stuck importing American oil anyway. So let's recap. Trump promises Pakistani oil independence. Pakistan ditches Saudi Arabia, UAE, and starts buying expensive US oil, Freedom Oil from US. In return, Pakistan gets nothing except a new dependency. The genius of Trump's art of the deal. Pakistan is left paying through the nose for imported oil that was supposed to be temporary. America gets a new market for its oil, and Trump gets to boast he made Pakistan buy American. For Pakistan, it is worse. They have once again been played, first by their own prime ministers and their army chiefs, now by Washington. And that is all for now. Thank you very much for being with me. You're watching GNF.